Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be Ghouls and Ghosts, the actual arcade version. We are playing on actual arcade hardware. We've also got it set to the Japanese version of the game. I'm actually using a converted Street Fighter II Champion Edition board. It's been converted to Ghouls and Ghosts. It's got a couple switches on it that'll allow me to change region. I've also got the dip switches themselves maxed out, so that we should be playing on the hardest difficulty mode. And it's pretty tough. Ghouls and Ghosts is a very, very challenging game. We've had multiple runs of this in the past, many very, very failed runs, and you know, let's hope for a half-decent run. I don't think I've ever actually gotten a one-credit clear on this game. Not the actual arcade version anyway. I got really close, but haven't been able to make it happen. Let's just hope we can get through this without continuing too many times. But yeah, we're using actual arcade hardware. That's what's kind of cool about this Let's Play. A friend of mine had sold me a board that sits between the JAMMA connector on the main board along with the JAMMA harness and intercepts the RGB video and splits it out via Euroscart, which I can then feed into my OSSC, and then that runs into my Elgato game capture card. And so that's how we're capturing this. I look forward to doing more arcade Let's Plays in the future, arcade streams and stuff like that via original actual hardware. So you can see we're actually, you know, using real hardware. So, but yeah, before we jump into this, as usual, I'd like to give a big shout out to my current Patreon backers. So they're going to go ahead and flash by the screen. Thank you guys for your continued patronage. Likewise, with the recent live stream super chatters and channel members, thank you guys for your direct patronage as well. So let's hope that this Let's Play doesn't feature too much stuttering and slurring. So let's go ahead and add some credits here. I have to open up my game. Interestingly, this game doesn't appear to have a free play option. I haven't been able to get it to work. I don't think it has it. My Final Fight board does, which runs on, you know, the same Capcom system hardware, CPS1. But Ghouls and Ghosts apparently, at least I haven't been able to get it working, doesn't have free play. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So for those of you guys that have played Ghosts and Goblins, but not Ghouls and Ghosts, it's a very similar setup. You basically have to go straight through the game, fight some bosses, and then loop the game a second time. Whereas in the first Ghosts and Goblins, you had hidden pots, which would drop, you know, power-ups, weapons, things like that, maybe some replenishment armor. This one has treasure chests, and just like in the first game, you basically need to jump at very specific parts in order to make chests appear. And the chests are very, very important in this game. For one, they give you upgraded weapons like this. We just grabbed ourselves the discus, and I'll go ahead and stick with this for a little while. They also give you things like the gold armor. So later on in the game, they'll actually reveal the amulets, or the ring, or the bracelet, whatever you want to call it. Taking my time here in this part, and look at that, we already got the dagger. Let's go ahead and switch over to the dagger. The dagger is basically the same strength as your lance, from what I understand, but you can shoot up to 3 projectiles at once, which makes rapid fire a lot better. Also, it makes tapering your shots kind of like this a lot easier. I always like to taper my shots in this game if I can. Basically have a constant stream of firepower on the screen if I'm moving forward like that and jumping, for instance. So, but yeah, the gold armor in this game actually allows you to charge up with certain types of weapons, like the dagger. I actually don't end up using it that much. It is very useful with the dagger because it basically causes a mirror version of you to appear, just like this. And to charge up, you just hold down the attack button, and a little meter down there will charge up. And that's how you charge that up. It is actually pretty handy. Say if I use it right here, there's going to be a pig guy. And the pigs can be a little annoying to deal with. They are very, very unpredictable. And by doubling your firepower, you can take them out pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and use it again. See, we killed that pig really, really fast as a result. So there's definitely a great use to the dagger's charge up in this game. But what I find is that I really like the lance's charge up in this game. It's just really, really good. It's really powerful. What tends to happen is, you know, when you're using the lightning attack with the lance, that it's, it'll basically make you invincible for like a second or so, you know, as the attack comes down and it goes through its animation and whatnot. And if enemies are touching you while you do it, it's just extremely powerful. So we're on level 2. Good progress so far, actually. That first level, the second half in particular, can give me a lot of trouble in this game. And that part right there can give me a lot of trouble on this level as well. That little blue hump. The thing about Ghouls and Ghosts, what makes it really difficult and what makes runs really inconsistent is the fact that enemies are sort of randomized. Like, certain types of enemies always appear in very specific parts in the game. Like, this part always has these dragonfly-looking things appear. And there's going to be a chest right there as well, but I don't need it. We've got the dagger, we've got the gold armor, this is really all I need. But where the enemies pop out from, when they pop out, how frequently they pop out, is sort of very inconsistent in this game, and that's where it gets its difficulty from. It can become very overwhelming, and we're just going to go ahead and push forward here. We're actually doing really well so far, surprisingly. This is like try number 5 on this Let's Play, by the way. This has actually been a very, very frustrating Let's Play to try to record, and, you know, I don't want to post a Let's Play that is just me getting wrecked over and over again, because I've already got multiple Let's Plays like that of Ghouls and Ghosts on my channel, so I wanted to have at least a decent run. It doesn't have to be a 1-credit clear or anything like that. I just want it to be a decent run. I want to get through these levels without too much trouble. I might die here and there. The one thing I did is I ended up getting stuck with the, on a previous run, I ended up getting stuck with the flame, the blue flame, which really isn't a great weapon in this game. It can be powerful, but you really do not want it on the next level, because it's a vertical level and the flame doesn't go all the way across the screen. And we took a hit there, unfortunately. I couldn't really do anything about that. Well, it's okay. When you beat a level in this game, you get all your armor back. Not all your armor, but you get the silver armor back, which basically gives you an extra hit point. When you lose your armor, it's 1-hit kill and you're dead. So what I ended up doing on a previous run is getting stuck with the flame right here. And I couldn't even hit these guys until they got up close to me. And by then, it was way too late. So that's another form of this game's difficulty. Oops, I wasn't even paying attention to that. I just slammed right into that projectile. The thing about this game is that, you know, you can just really get screwed with really bad drops, things like that. This is going to be a magician. And let's go ahead and try to kill this guy. See, the other nice thing about the dagger is you'll notice that it doesn't always fire perfectly straight up. Like, one shot will be a little more to the left, one shot will be a little more to the right. So it kind of allows you to very subtly spread your shots out a little bit. So you don't have to try to be quite as accurate with your attacks and whatnot. And let's hope I can get past this part without dying. This is actually a pretty easy part right here. I usually just will keep sort of jump attacking like that as I go through this. And just like that. So now we're going to hit a checkpoint, and there's going to be a chest here coming right up. Unfortunately, because I didn't get armor from the previous chests, probably not going to get armor here until towards the end of this section. What I find with the chests in this game and whether they give you armor back or not, it really seems to be dependent on kind of like where you are on the level itself. Like, I'm not really sure how to explain it, and I thought I could just jump straight up, but that platform was too far away. We just barely missed it. But that's okay. At least we've got our armor back. That's what counts. Let's go ahead and just not hit that chest yet. And one thing I like to do is I like to try to sort of taper my shot with the magicians and try to hit them immediately as they appear. Let's go ahead and grab that armor. And there's a discus. We don't really want the discus. And I'm going to fall straight down like that. That's how I deal with that section. I like to just fall straight down. This game has sort of Castlevania 1 physics when it comes to falling off platforms. And we're almost at the boss fight, too. You don't want to get eaten up by these guys. They'll kill you instantly. One thing that is nice, though, we do have extra lives turned on. So I will earn a couple extra lives in this playthrough, which is great. And that'll definitely help me out a little bit. And when this guy goes in this form right here, he actually can't be damaged. You have to wait until he comes out. There we go. Good stuff. Fun little trick here. If you hold down the up button as a key lands on you, or if you land on top of the key, it'll say nice catch. Fun little Easter egg. It doesn't actually give you anything. No extra points or anything like that. But it is fun to do. It's just one of those things. So I'm not even going to worry about the chests here, to be honest with you. I'm just going to worry about trying to get through this. I've got a really good setup now. Gold armor and the dagger is arguably the best setup that you can have. And I've got it, so I'm going to go ahead and just try to stick with it. Now the game is totally... see, that's bad. No more dagger. I'm going to have to actually grab that, unfortunately. See, that's where the game can sort of screw... Oh, look at that! Well, that was convenient. Thank you, game. You were actually thinking of me for a change, unlike the other 4 playthroughs I've tried for this damn Let's Play. But that's what makes Ghouls and Ghosts so interesting, is you can get screwed over on a bunch of runs, and then the game just starts playing nice for some odd reason. And I don't think I hit the checkpoint. We're going to have to do that whole first section over again, yeah. See, that was bad. I should have tried turning around, but I was worried about the projectiles. Those worm guys shoot out projectiles. And it's got to be... And unfortunately, I had to get the discus. So, enemies will drop pots. Now, the pots were things kind of like equivalent to the treasure chests in the very first Ghosts and Goblins. But in Ghouls and Ghosts, the pots are now relegated to enemies. And the enemies dropping pots is relatively randomized. Whether they drop a weapon, or if they drop, you know, point icons or something like that, definitely seems randomized. So... And I've been getting some really bad pot drops, unfortunately. And there's the dagger again. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and try to charge up here. There we go. And let's go ahead and try to get all these point icons, too. And here's the worm. And let's try this again. And I knew that was going to happen. So you can't really jump on that part, unfortunately. You will probably take a hit. And let's go ahead and just turn around and kill that guy just like that. Okay, good. Well, at least we got the checkpoint that time. So we've died a couple times already. This part probably shouldn't be all that bad as long as we can, you know, get our armor back, which we will if we play this right. So you got these worms that appear. The worms always appear in various different parts. They don't always spawn at the exact same spot. So you've really got to watch out. And we have to get close to this guy, unfortunately. You don't want to touch these things. They will kill you in one hit. They'll basically grab you, and it's instant death. There's our silver armor. That's great. So we've got armor. That's really all we care about. Now, the discus did appear, which is actually a really handy weapon for parts like this, because the discus will actually, you know, basically track... Ooh, that was close. It'll basically, you know, follow up. It'll go up and down hills and whatnot. So it's really good for that part with the hands. But what I find is that the dagger is a little bit better for the boss fight. And the dagger is a little bit better in general. So if I can have the dagger going into the final stage, we'll be in business. And what I like to do here is sit on the edge and just taper my shots, get some free hits on this guy. And we basically killed 2 pods. The idea is to kill all the pods and sort of just take your time here. Just trying to stay patient here, not rush this boss. This boss can be very, very predictable. The big worms that come out, extremely unpredictable. I've had them whip straight around for no apparent reason. So this boss can be just really troublesome. See, I'm just kind of getting screwed over here. Like, both worms just appeared right in front of me. And I'm just trying to kill this last one. Yeah, and they just keep messing with me. Stop messing with me, guys. And see, there's the other one. It's like they know what I want to do. It almost seems like they know what I want to do. And that's the thing about Ghouls and Ghosts, is you can just have some really bad luck. Let's see if we can get them to spawn over this way. I don't know if it's going to work. Wow. Man, that boss had me on my toes, man. That was not good. That was very, very mean, boss. Very, very mean. And that's Ghouls and Ghosts for you in a nutshell. I mean, you can be having a really great run, and then everything just goes downhill immediately. And that boss was basically gonna do that to me. That's what it felt like. So with the red armors here, what I like to do, this is sort of like a speedrun technique that I've seen from watching various speedrunners of this game, where you can sort of shoot 2 shots, kind of like this, just over their heads, and what they'll do is they'll just go straight up and land into one of your projectiles. And then if you jump forward and shoot up, and then jump forward again and shoot up, they will, you'll basically hit them almost guaranteed, so, and let's see if we can get this guy to just come down here. Alright, good stuff. So this part's actually kind of difficult on the first loop. I actually find that some parts of the first loop are actually harder than the second loop, because on the second loop you actually get the bracelet, which is my favorite weapon in the game. It's just very, very good. It's very, very powerful. It cuts through projectiles. And there we go. He's dead. Alright, that's all I care about. So great stuff. Great stuff. The last part of this level can be really, really tricky with the, there's a little bit of a boss rush, but there's also the Beelzebub. Beelzebub, however you want to spell it. And that was really dumb on my part. I shouldn't have gotten up there. There's absolutely zero reason to get up there like that. And let's see if we can jump over here, because there should be a chest that we've... Did I not get... I might have actually opened up the chest already. Yeah, actually I might have opened it. Or maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's too far out of reach and it no longer wants to spawn, so... Yeah, that's kind of disappointing. Yeah, I made a really bad mistake there. I shouldn't have done that. But we'll go ahead and see what's inside this chest. Armor. Awesome. Yeah, see, one thing I need to research in this game is to figure out exactly how the armor drops work in chests, because it almost feels like it's checkpoint bound. Like, if you cross a checkpoint, the armor drops just sort of reset. And there is some sort of rhythm and rhyme to the drops. There's actually another chest right here. There we go. We're going to go ahead and open it. And mini boss rush time. And this is why having a dagger is great. If you get here without the dagger, these guys are definitely a lot more challenging. And for this part, I'm going to go ahead and charge up. Kind of like so. And it's really good to try to just focus on one guy here if you can, but sometimes, you know, it's ghouls and ghosts, so it's easier said than done. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and charge up here as well. Now we get to fight 2 of these guys. These guys are actually the final bosses in the original Ghosts and Goblins arcade game. And then there's a couple of them in the sequel to this, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is a brand new game. It's not a port of this game. Some people that aren't too familiar with this series assume that it's just a port of arcade Ghouls and Ghosts, but it is not, actually. It's a brand new game. Highly, highly recommend playing it. It's an amazing game for Super Nintendo. And this is our last section, leading up to the Beelzebub. Now, you can really get screwed over in this part. These guys like to drop, you know, random weapons and stuff like that out of these pots. And what I really want to do is get through this and not take damage. I'm going to just try to sit back from a distance with this guy. And he's going to end up going to the left here, unfortunately. Wow, that was an amazing Beelzebub fight. Oh my god, that was amazing. So that guy, he basically goes into this fly form, and he'll either go to the left or the right. And the idea is to try to have him high up on the screen and be underneath him. If you're underneath him, you can see if the flies are going to go left or right, and you can just walk left or right depending on which way he's going. Well, when he gets cornered like that, he corners himself. You have no choice but to go in the opposite direction and hope the flies don't go all the way across the screen. And they can go all the way across the screen outside the boss arena. And that boss is just such a crapshoot for me. In one of my other previous Let's Plays that I did of this, or attempted Let's Plays of, you know, the original arcade hardware, just last week, unfortunately it was a botched Let's Play because I was having some computer issues in this side system I have in the main room. The Beelzebub just gave us absolute total hell. I think I had to try him like 5 or 6 times, maybe more. It was really bad. So that was amazing actually. I completely made up for all the failed attempts. Ghouls and Ghosts is definitely not the kind of game for the faint of heart to Let's Play. If you're the kind of person that wants to do a Let's Play and you expect to beat the game perfectly on your first try, yeah, this is not the game to Let's Play. I can completely vouch for that. So as you can see, we've got the bracelet. The bracelet doesn't go quite all the way across the screen, but is extremely powerful. What I'm going to do is actually just kind of do what I did earlier, and that was bad. Let's try to kill these guys. And armor, good stuff. So the big thing with the bracelet, if you got the gold armor, it can actually eat through... Seriously, dude. One of the big things about the bracelet, though, is it's got a massive hitbox, and sometimes, like, the way the hitbox works, it just doesn't want to hit enemies when they're right in front of you. Like, I think it got hit, or it made contact with one of the guillotine, like, the parts of the guillotine. The thing about the bracelet is when you got the gold armor, it eats through projectiles, so it makes certain parts of the second loop actually a lot easier than the first loop, which is why I prefer to use the bracelet for pretty much the whole playthrough if I can. And we're going to go ahead and come on over here, because there is going to be a chest that appears, and we're going to hope that it gives us some armor. And it gave us a sword. Thankfully, I was dead when I landed into that, because I definitely do not want the sword. So now that I've already got, you know, my silver armor, I'm really not going to worry about picking up the chests. Well, not on that section. Picking up the chest on the rainy section there is very risky, because I find that those patterns of enemies become more difficult to deal with the longer you're in that section. So that's definitely a section you just want to get out of. Very much like the first section of level 2. You just want to get out of it as quickly as possible. You don't want to linger in that area, otherwise you are pretty much screwed. So... And there we go, yeah, I mean, just look at how, like, fast we kill these guys. And it goes even faster, like, the closer they are to you. It's just insanely powerful up close. Guess I'm gonna get a little bit of a free hit on this guy. And so, like, right now, I can just taper my shots. I'm just gonna eat right through his projectiles, and that's why the bracelet is fantastic with the gold armor. So bosses become much, much easier. Certain bosses, like the level 3 boss doesn't really have any projectiles that he shoots. So, you know, it's one of those bosses where it doesn't really matter that much. Same with the level 2 boss. You know, the thing about the level 2 boss is he only shoots projectiles vertically. So it's, you know, and you can already destroy those normally. So it doesn't make a huge difference there. But again, the weapon is a lot more powerful. So we're just taking our time here. I'm just sort of analyzing what's going on. Now you don't want to stay in the sandy area too much, otherwise these guys come out, these ant-type guys come out, and they will basically chomp you to bits and pieces. And so the armors here will take less hits to kill now too, so we'll go ahead and use the same tactic. We'll do jump, tap, tap, and then 1 up, and bam, he's dead. So whereas if I had, like, the dagger, that would have taken, I think, a good 4 hits. With the bracelet, he took 2. So, like I said, it's insanely powerful, and that was really bad. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to end up getting some armor here. But we'll try. We'll see what happens. It's probably not going to be a weapon, okay. And I don't think that's going to actually be armor, because I didn't get enough chests, so I'm going to go ahead and just fight this guy without armor. Because he's really not that hard of a boss, to be honest with you. I can't really think of how many times I've actually died on this guy. And with the bracelet, you know, the hitbox of the bracelet is really, really big, and thus, he's one of the easiest bosses in the game for me, to be honest with you. Because as long as you're ducking, and you're not too close to him, he can't really do anything to you. He always just flies right over you, and his projectiles always come down, you know, in the same way, just about every time you fight him. So I'm always pretty confident when I get to that guy, even without armor. Now, if I can get gold armor, that would be fantastic. That way I can start cutting through these projectiles. So if you can get to this part with gold armor, you are gold in, no pun intended. Like, because these little projectiles these guys shoot, or they drop, the gold armor just eats right through them. Now, unfortunately, I didn't make one of the chests appear there, but this next chest coming up, if it's not gold armor, the next one will be. There it is, gold armor. Great. Alright, good timing on that. I'll take it. As long as we can have gold armor for just a little bit here, I'm okay with that. And let's just go ahead and come on over here. I don't need that chest, so we'll go ahead and just buy ourselves some more time. I mean, notice that this is a rising platform. You do have a time limit here, effectively. Now, speaking of time limits, notice that you do have a time limit in the game, but what I find is that the time limit is actually very generous in this game. Unlike, say, Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the second loop leading up to the final bosses. Yeah, the time in this game is actually pretty generous. I have never run out of time in this game, ever. And it resets on the checkpoint. Notice that we just went back up to 3 minutes. So, yeah, we just went back up to 3 minutes, which is fantastic. And since I'm good here, the great thing about being powered up is you don't have to worry about trying to get the power up. So these levels become a hell of a lot easier because you're not trying to juggle grabbing treasure chests. You're just trying to get through the damn level. So that's the thing about Ghouls and Ghosts, man. If you can stay powered up, the game is so much easier than it is if you can't stay powered up. And there we go, nice catch. You always get 5,000 points when you beat the level. Now, with dip switch settings, you can actually turn off earning extra lives, but I've got them turned on to make a 1 credit clear, a potential 1 credit clear, I should say, a little more doable. Oh, and that was close. He almost hit me. I got lucky. You notice that these guys also start running a lot faster on loop number 2, and we're probably dead. That was crappy. I wasn't expecting to land up top like that. That was really awful. So let's go ahead and jump here. There's a chest. So this is actually a chest I didn't know about until just recently, and I think there are lots and lots of chests in this game that I still don't know about. It's one of those games I never looked up like a walkthrough or anything like that for. It's one of those games I just love playing, and you know, so things I discover on my own. That's usually, you know, what I leave it at, to be honest with you, when I'm playing this game. But yeah, these guys here, the little Grim Reapers, they are the most unpredictable enemies in the game. Kind of like the zombies in the first Ghosts and Goblins. But these guys, you know, they can pop out of not just like the ground, but also walls and things like that. So on the parts where they appear, they can be extremely problematic. Extremely. And we're going to go ahead and just take the same route. Back in the day when I used to play this on the Genesis in particular, I used to take the bottom route a lot. But, you know, as I've gotten older and I've been playing this more on the actual arcade version, a lot of times what I do now, I just take the top route. As long as I've got the bracelet, I find that it's actually not too bad to deal with. Ooh, and that was close. I really shouldn't have done that, but it's okay. This is going to be a mage or a magician. There's also a speedrun technique you can use where you can intentionally take a hit here and fall through these puffy spike things. Normally if you touch the puffy spike things, you die in 1 hit. But when you take a hit by a normal enemy, you have invincibility frames after you lose your armor, and you can take advantage of that to fall through the spikes. So one thing I wanted to do, and I'm actually not going to be able to do it unless I do this on... And I could probably do it on this, but unless I do this on, say, like the Capcom Generation Volume 2 on PS1, which is an early series of Capcom compilations from the 90s. Really solid packs, actually, because they're not emulated. They were reprogrammed from the ground up, from what I understand. I could try to learn some speedrun techniques on that, but I know there are a couple of, you know, minor differences. But since I have to give this PCB back to my friend actually today, as I'm recording this, I'm not going to be able to actually practice some speedrun techniques on this. I have messed around with like the damage skip on this level to sort of fall all the way back down straight to the boss fight. It's really funny seeing that happen, but maybe some other time. So we would definitely want to try to keep our armor here if we can. There we go, great. So we get to go into the final stage with gold armor. That is really great, because now the armors will be easier to kill. It'll be fantastic. And that is not fantastic. But at least we can kill these guys faster. Yeah, one of the problems I have with this level is those bone dragon type things. They are very erratic, and when I fall down on that first section, I find that, that was really lucky actually. I find that, like, they'll have a tendency of just being huddled down at the bottom of the screen. I have a sight, so I basically make a leap of faith, but I can't see them, and I land right on top of them. And that's one of the most frequent areas for me to lose my armor unintentionally. I mean, anytime you lose armor is unintentional, to be honest with you, but still. I'm gonna go ahead and just kill this guy from down below. Now the bracelet is a lot less powerful long range, but you know, as long as you're patient, it doesn't really matter. And I shouldn't have jumped like that. A good rule of thumb in this game is just to never jump unless you have to. Because when you jump in this game like that, you have to commit to your jumps. And with these guys, where these flies appear, or these dragonfly type things appear on the edges of the screen, you could be jumping forward and just slam right into one that that has spawned. So these guys are going to be a little bit easier with this this bracelet. In this part, especially if I've got the gold armor, which I do now, which is great. So there we go. And we're just going to sit back from a distance. Alright, good stuff. Alright, on to round 2. Or technically, I guess this is round 3, since we already fought one of these guys. There we go. Round 4. Alright, round 5. I'm gonna just sit back from a distance here. Alright, good. Got to the Beelzebub with gold armor. That's actually fantastic. And there he goes. He wasn't high enough up, and he wasn't far enough over for me, unfortunately. That's okay. We might actually be able to get this. Nope. Go up, go up. Oh man, he's being nice again. Why are you being nice to me? You hated me. You hated me all the way up to this point, and before I did this video. Now you like me for some reason. Now you want me to succeed. I don't understand it. You mess with my mind, Ghouls and Ghosts. And this is Loki. He's actually one of the easiest bosses in the game, to be honest with you. He doesn't have very many hit points, and of course we died. Right as I say that. I got a little cocky there. And, welcome back, music. Yeah, the music has a tendency of not playing on this boss the first time I get here. It's not until after I do it, and bam. Wow, did we just get a 1 credit clear in the game? I think we got a 1 credit clear on Ghouls and Ghosts Arcade, Japanese version. The switches should have been maxed out for hardest settings, so there you go, guys. The pain and struggle has paid off. The pain and struggle has paid off, so... man, that's actually a really good feeling. That's my first 1 credit clear on this this game, the actual arcade version. Yeah, so this game can really screw you over. I mean, you guys saw a couple parts in the game where, like, the game started sort of tilting in its favor, not mine. But there were many parts where, like, it was tilting in my favor big time, like the first Beelzebub fight. You know, just managing to having the gold armor going into, you know, subsequent stages and things like that. Not giving me really crappy weapon drops, like it wasn't dropping the sword or the axe all that often on the first loop, which was good. I didn't get knocked into weapons I didn't once, which was also good. But yeah, that's it. There is no third loop in this game. I do kind of wish the game just kept going on like the first Ghosts and Goblins, but it doesn't. It actually ends. This was the era of arcade gaming where games actually ended. They, you know, just games looping infinitely, started to become more relegated to the shoot-'em-up genre. Games that were platformers like this, and beat-em-ups, and fighting games, all that sort of stuff, generally had a defined end, and you'd get a nice ending. It's another reason I really enjoy this era of arcade gaming, because the games do actually end, and there's a sense of finality. You get to sort of sit back, enjoy the fact that you got a 1 credit clear on a very, very difficult game like this, and the rest of the world will get to see it as well. Not that people haven't seen a 1cc on this game before or anything like that, but for me it's a personal accomplishment because I haven't actually done it. I think I got a 1cc on the Super Graphics version, which is very comparable in difficulty. But again, the game's also very much a crapshoot with how it deals out the cards. Sometimes you just get annihilated, other times you don't. Now, I will clarify, you have to be completely on point when you're playing this game. If you're not, you will get bent over. The game will dominate you. It is one of those games that requires 100% of your attention. And I think that was one of the issues with the earlier Let's Play attempts I've done with this, is that my attention wasn't there. I wasn't really feeling all that well today. And I think it took a break and some caffeine in me to sort of get with it. So, but here we are now, yeah. And the computer likes to cheat, apparently. He's got God mode turned on. He's IDDQD'd the game, cheater. Yeah, so that is Ghouls and Ghosts, guys. Like I said, it's one of my favorite games. I love going back to this game, and I'd like to give a big shout out to my friend Dan Quinn, who has actually loaned me this board. I have to go give it back to him, but without him loaning me this board, I wouldn't have been able to do an actual arcade version Let's Play. Also, thank you to Anonymous, who actually set me up with this RGB splitter for the JAMMA connector, and he also went the extra mile, which he absolutely had no reason to. He had no need to, but he did it anyway. And he added on an audio splitter board that basically strips out the audio, so I can just plug it straight into the OSSC. So thank you, Al, if you happen to be watching, for doing that for me. Because of that, I will be able to do more arcade streams and Let's Plays. My friend Dan also loaned me a Strider, so I plan on covering Strider very, very soon, so watch out for that. And I've also got a Final Fight PCB that I have for this cabinet, and then I have a Pandora's Box, so we can do some randomized arcade streams via the Pandora's Box, which is an emulation box, but it works inside an actual arcade cabinet. So you get the benefit of having real arcade controls and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's going to do it for me. As usual, if you guys like what you saw, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, or if you hate everything about life, give it a big thumbs down. If you're brand new to my channel, consider subscribing. I've got a lot of Let's Plays on my channel. A lot of, difficult action-oriented games like this in particular. So if that's your cup of tea, definitely feel free to follow my channel here. For everyone else already subbed, thank you for your continued support. Hope you guys continue to enjoy these videos. And until the next one, take it easy.